Hello, this is John Hicks, Executive Director of the National Association of State Budget Officers, or NASBO. I am pleased to present for you a brief overview of NASBO's Spring 2016 Fiscal Survey of States. The Spring Survey provides information about the 50 states' general fund, the fund where most state governments' tax revenues are collected and spent. The survey includes financial information for fiscal years 2015 and 2016, fiscal 2017 budget proposals by the state's governors, and historical information on state spending and revenues. Let's start with general fund spending. State spending continues to grow at a moderate pace in the years following the Great Recession. In fiscal 2016, total state general fund spending is expected to grow by 5.5%, which happens to be equal to the average of the last 4 decades. In fiscal 2016, this is the highest rate of growth since fiscal 2007. However, spending growth for the average state, or the median, in 2016 is at 3.8%. Governor's budget proposals for fiscal 2017 expect a much lower growth rate, 2.5%. This is the second lowest proposed spending growth rate since the economic recovery began. This next chart shows that states expect to spend $798 billion from their general fund in fiscal year 2016. Fiscal 2016 is the first year that total state spending recovered to its pre-recession spending peak when adjusted for inflation. The $789 billion figure here represents the fiscal 2008 spending level adjusted 8 years later for inflation. It has taken 6 years from the low point of the recessionary period for state budgets to recover to their fiscal 2008 levels, an unusually long time for that to take place. While this has happened for the sum of all 50 states, 29 states have still not yet reached the equivalent of their fiscal 2008 level. Governor's budget proposals for fiscal 2017 reflect just a 2.5% increase in spending over 2016. Out of this modest increase, 2 policy areas stand out as the primary recipients of the new dollars: elementary and secondary education, or K-12, and Medicaid. Spending for elementary and secondary education accounts for the largest share of states' general funds at 35%. It is common for education to be a top budget priority for governors and state legislatures. 36 state budget proposals include additional funding for education for fiscal 2017. 32 state budget proposals include additional general funds in 2017 for Medicaid. The NASBO Spring Survey also includes a separate section on Medicaid spending. States expect spending for Medicaid to grow at a slower pace in fiscal 2017, an increase of 3%. That is compared to an 8.3% spending growth rate in 2016. Total Medicaid spending, including federal funds, is expected to grow just 2.1% in 2017 compared to 9% in 2016. Next, we will look at states' general fund revenues and recommended tax changes. As shown earlier with general fund spending, total general fund revenues in 2016 have finally recovered to the pre-recession peak year of 2008, a slow but positive growth rate trend. Fiscal 2015 revenues grew at a healthy 4.9%. Fiscal year 2016 and 2017 are expected to grow at a much more moderate pace of 2.8% and 2.9%, respectively. This reflects the financial condition that required a soft 2.5% proposed increase in spending in 2017. Financial conditions among the states are uneven, particularly those states with a reliance on the energy sector. 8 states expect an actual decline in general fund revenues in fiscal 2016, and most of them are energy states. Even so, there are some positive trends for state revenues in fiscal 2017. Total personal income tax revenue is forecasted to grow by 3.9%, and total sales tax revenues are forecasted to grow by 4.4%. For all 50 states, these two revenue sources account for over 70% of states' general funds. This next chart is a summary of the types of tax increases and decreases included in Governor's fiscal 2017 budget proposals. 13 states had net tax increases and 15 states had net decreases. The largest dollar impacts are concentrated in just a few states. State savings accounts, typically referred to as rainy day funds. 48 states have some form of savings or reserve accounts. These rainy day funds provide states with one tool to limit disruptions to state services and provide flexibility during an economic downturn when revenues fall below budgeted estimates. This chart is a 10-year look at the 50-state total rainy day fund balances. States are building back their reserves during the current economic recovery. As you can see, back during the Great Recession, states drew down on their rainy day funds as one part of a multifaceted approach to managing the revenue declines. On average, states had a 10% decrease in general fund revenues during the recession. If Alaska and Texas are excluded, two states with traditionally high amounts of reserves, the 2010 total balance of $21 billion would be $3 billion. Since that time, states have built up their balances. Again, excluding Alaska and Texas, the 2017 figure would be over $35 billion. Half of the states increased their rainy day fund balances in fiscal 2016, and 27 states are proposing further increases in 2017. Here are a few key takeaways from the NASBO Spring 2016 Fiscal Survey of States. Total general fund spending grew 5.5% in fiscal 2016, though the average state grew at 3.8%. Total state general fund spending finally recovered to the level before the Great Recession in 2016. General fund revenue growth slows down in 2016 and 2017. Governor's budget proposals for 2017 include only modest spending increases, with about half the states including a mix of tax increases and decreases. And finally, most states continue to bolster their rainy day funds. I hope this overview was helpful. For more information, read a summary of the NASBO Spring 2016 Fiscal Survey of States, or download the full report at www.nasbo.org.